Hello, and welcome to this Companies House Guide to Running a Limited Company. This guide explains the key responsibilities of running a limited company, including what directors need to do, how to stay compliant, and where to find further support and guidance. This guide is designed for anyone considering setting up a limited company, new directors, or existing directors who would like a refresher on their responsibilities. We'll cover setting up a company, identity verification requirements, director responsibilities, annual filing requirements, and the support available to help you run your company successfully. Companies House is an executive agency sponsored by the Department for Business, Innovation, Science and Trade. We hold the UK's Register of Companies and the Register of Overseas Entities. We're responsible for incorporating, maintaining and dissolving limited companies, examining and publishing company information, and promoting transparency and growth in the UK economy. And as you may be aware, recent reforms have strengthened that role. The Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Act is the biggest change to Companies House in well over a century. It gives us new powers to move beyond simply collecting information, allowing us to play a much more active role in improving the quality of the register and helping tackle economic crime. The changes are being introduced in phases, with measures designed to make the information held on our registers more accurate, transparent and trustworthy. That benefits everyone who relies on Companies House data, from businesses carrying out due diligence to lenders, investors and members of the public. The Act itself sets the overall legal framework, but many of the detailed changes require secondary legislation. There are more than 50 sets of secondary legislation needed to bring all of the measures into effect. We're making good progress with many reforms already in place, and we expect the remaining measures to be implemented by the end of 2028. Every year, more than 800,000 new companies are incorporated in the UK. So it's a route that many entrepreneurs choose when starting a business. It's not the only option. Depending on your circumstances, a sole trader, partnership or LLP might be more suitable, so it's always worth taking advice if you're unsure. A limited company has its own legal identity, separate from the people who run it. That brings a number of benefits, but it also means that becoming a director isn't just a title. It comes with legal duties and responsibilities. The good news is that many of those responsibilities are straightforward. Things like keeping your company information up to date, filing on time, and maintaining accurate records help keep your business compliant and avoid unnecessary issues later on. Getting those basics right from the very beginning doesn't just help you meet your legal obligations. It also helps build trust with customers, suppliers, lenders, and anyone else who wants to do business with you. Starting with good habits makes running your company much easier as it grows. Once you've decided that a limited company is the right structure for you, there are a few key decisions to make before you can incorporate. You'll need to decide whether you're setting up a company limited by shares or by guarantee, choose a company name, and check that it's available on the Companies House register. As part of the application, you'll need to appoint at least one director. Directors must now complete identity verification before they can be appointed, and they must be at least 16 years old. You'll also need to provide a registered office address and a registered email address. Tell us who owns or controls the company, including any people with significant control, also known as PSEs, and select the Standard Industrial Classification or SIC codes that best describe what your business does. Finally, every company needs a Memorandum and Articles of Association, which sets out how the company will operate. Once you've got everything together, you can register online with Companies House. It costs £100 and in most cases, applications are processed within 24 hours. Identity verification became a legal requirement for all company directors and people with significant control in November 2025. It's an important part of the changes introduced by the Act to help improve trust in the information held on the Companies House register. There are two ways to verify your identity. Most people choose to do it directly with Companies House using gov.uk One Login. But if you're already working with an accountant, solicitor, or another registered provider, they may be able to verify your identity for you as an Authorised Corporate Service Provider, or ACSP. It's worth remembering that identity verification is a two-step process. The first step is verifying your identity. Once you've successfully done that, you'll receive your Companies House personal code. The second step is just as important. Receiving your personal code doesn't automatically link your verified identity to your company roles. You need to provide that personal code for each role you hold, whether that's as a director, a PSE, or across multiple companies. One final point. Keep your personal code somewhere safe. It's unique to you. You'll use the same code throughout your time as a director or PSE, and you'll need it whenever you take on a new role or need to confirm an existing one. Many of the support queries we receive are simply because people have misplaced their code, so keeping hold of it will save you time later. Once you have your personal code, when you use it depends on whether you're setting up a new company or you're already involved with an existing one. If you're registering a new company, you'll be asked to provide the personal code for each director as part of the incorporation application. If you appoint a new person with significant control, they'll need to provide their personal code within 14 days of being added to the register. For existing companies, directors provide their personal code as part of the company's next confirmation statement. If they're also a PSE, they'll need to provide the same personal code again through the separate PSE process during their allocated 14-day compliance window. If you're ever unsure when you need to take action, you can check the Companies House register to see the verification due dates for each of the roles you hold. Now that we've looked at setting up a company, let's turn to what it means to be a director. Becoming a director isn't just a job title. It's a legal role with specific responsibilities set out in company law. Those responsibilities apply whether you're running a large organisation or a small family business. You can, of course, ask an accountant or other professional to help with things like filing or record keeping. But while you can delegate the task, you can't delegate the legal responsibility. As a director, you're still ultimately accountable for making sure your company meets its obligations. That includes acting in the best interests of the company and making sure information held by Companies House is accurate and kept up to date. These are some of the fundamental responsibilities that help protect both your business and the wider business environment. Company law sets out 7 statutory duties that every director must follow. They provide the legal framework for how directors are expected to act when running a company. Together, these duties cover things like acting within the company's constitution, promoting the success of the company, exercising independent judgment, and taking reasonable care, skill, and diligence when making decisions. They also require directors to avoid conflicts of interest, refuse improper benefits, and declare any personal interests that could influence their decisions. We won't go through each duty in detail in this guide, but it's important to be aware that these are legal obligations, not just good practice. If you're becoming a director for the first time, I'd encourage you to take some time to familiarise yourself with them, as they'll help you make informed decisions and fulfil your responsibilities with confidence. Once your company is up and running, there are a few key things you'll need to do each year to keep it compliant. It starts with keeping good company records. Accurate records make it much easier to meet your legal obligations and provide the right information when it's needed. If anything changes during the year, for example, your registered office, directors, people with significant control, or other company details, it's important to tell Companies House as soon as possible, rather than waiting until the end of the year. Every company must also file a confirmation statement each year to confirm that the information held on the register is correct and up to date. And finally, you'll need to prepare and file your annual accounts. Together, these activities form the core of your annual compliance journey and help keep your company in good standing. There are 2 key filings that every company needs to stay on top of: your confirmation statement and your annual accounts. Although they're often mentioned together, they serve different purposes, so it's important not to confuse them. The confirmation statement confirms that the information held about your company is accurate and up to date, while your annual accounts provide a financial picture of how the company has performed. Missing a filing deadline can have consequences, including financial penalties, so it's worth making sure you know when your deadlines fall. One simple tip is to sign up for our free email reminder service. We'll send you a reminder before your filing is due, helping you stay organised and reduce the risk of missing an important deadline. Let's look at the confirmation statement in a little more detail, as it's one of the filings that new directors often have questions about. A common misconception is that you're reporting changes when you file the confirmation statement. In fact, its purpose is to confirm that the information Companies House already holds about your company is accurate. That includes details such as your registered office address, directors, shareholders, people with significant control, and the SIC code that describes your business activities. If you've already updated changes during the year, completing your confirmation statement is usually a straightforward process because you're simply confirming that everything is correct. The current filing fee is £50 online or £110 if you file by post. The second key annual filing is your company accounts. Every limited company must prepare and file accounts each year, even if the company hasn't started trading yet or has been dormant throughout the year. Your accounts are prepared from your company's financial records and provide a financial snapshot of the business for that accounting period. Your first filing deadline is slightly different, which is why it's shown separately on this slide. After that, most private companies file their annual accounts 9 months after the end of each financial year. As with the confirmation statement, we strongly recommend signing up for our free email reminder service. We'll send you reminders ahead of your filing deadline, and you can also check your filing dates at any time using our online service. Staying on top of your accounts is one of the simplest ways to avoid unnecessary late filing penalties and keep your company compliant. Now let's look at upcoming changes to company accounts filing requirements. These changes are part of what's known as accounts reform and will come into effect from the 1st of April 2028. The aim is to modernise the way companies file accounts, improve the quality and reliability of information on the register, and help reduce filing errors and rejected submissions. They also support the wider ambitions of the Economic Crime and Corporate Transparency Act by improving transparency and making the Companies House Register an even more trusted source of information for businesses, lenders, investors, and the public. There are a few key changes to be aware of. From April 2028, all companies will need to file their accounts using commercial software, as paper filing and our current web filing service for accounts will no longer be available. It's worth stressing that this change only applies to accounts. Our web filing services will remain available and fully supported for other filings, including confirmation statements and updates to director details. We're encouraging companies to move to software filing as early as possible. Our gov.uk guidance includes a list of software providers to help businesses find a package that's right for them. Small companies and micro-entities will also be required to file a profit and loss account with Companies House. However, they'll be able to choose not to publish that information on the public register. We'll confirm how companies can opt out of publication once the supporting regulations are in place. Businesses that want to benefit from publishing this information, for example to support transparency or improve access to finance, will still be able to do so. There are also a number of other technical changes, including updates to audit exemption statements and accounting reference periods. Together, these changes are designed to improve consistency and the quality of the information on the register. The important thing to remember is that these changes don't take effect until the 1st of April 2028, giving businesses plenty of time to prepare. We'll continue to provide guidance, support and regular updates well in advance so companies know exactly what they need to do. Now it's worth taking a moment to look at why meeting your deadlines is so important. Most companies never experience issues because they keep their records up to date and file on time. But if deadlines are repeatedly missed, there can be consequences. If you file your annual accounts late, you'll automatically receive a late filing penalty. Those penalties increase depending on how late the accounts are filed and are doubled if your accounts are filed late in 2 consecutive years. A confirmation statement is different. There is no automatic late filing penalty, but if you don't file your confirmation statement, we may issue a financial penalty. Continued non-compliance could also result in your company being struck off the Companies House register. In the most serious cases, directors who consistently fail to meet their legal responsibilities could also face director disqualification or criminal prosecution. It's also worth remembering that much of the information on the Companies House register is publicly available. Keeping your filings up to date helps protect your company's reputation and gives others confidence that your business is being run responsibly. The good news is that these situations are largely avoidable. By keeping good records, updating changes as they happen, and filing on time, you'll be well placed to meet your legal obligations. Before we wrap up, here are a few examples of good governance that can help your company run smoothly as it grows. Keeping clear records of important decisions, maintaining accurate company information, and telling Companies House when things change are all simple habits that make it much easier to stay compliant. It's also good practice to keep your articles of association under review as your business develops. Declare any conflicts of interest openly and make sure your people with significant control information remains accurate and up to date. Separating your personal and company finances is another important principle, helping to maintain the company's separate legal identity. Don't be afraid to seek professional advice when you're making significant business decisions or you're unsure about your legal responsibilities. Getting the right advice early can often save time, money, and unnecessary problems later on. There's lots of support that's available to help you meet your responsibilities as a director. Gov.uk is the best place to start if you're setting up or running a limited company. It brings together practical guidance covering everything from incorporation through to your ongoing filing responsibilities. You can sign up for our free Companies House email reminder service. It's a simple way to stay on top of your confirmation statement and accounts deadlines and avoid missing important dates. We provide a range of guidance and support resources, including recorded content, newsletters, campaign information, and updates through our social media channels. These resources are regularly updated to help businesses understand new requirements and keep up to date with changes. You can also find support from other government sources. For example, HMRC provides guidance on tax, VAT, and payroll, while the Insolvency Service has a dedicated information hub with practical advice for directors, including what to do if your company starts experiencing financial difficulties. And finally, remember that you don't have to navigate everything on your own. If you're unsure about a legal, financial, or technical issue, seeking advice from an accountant, solicitor, or another trusted professional can give you confidence that you're doing the right thing. If there's one key message to take away from this guide, it's understand your responsibilities, keep your company information up to date, and file on time. Following these 3 principles will help you meet your legal obligations and support the long-term success of your company. For the latest guidance, tools and support, visit gov.uk and search for guidance on running a limited company.